previously recorded and re-uploaded for new viewers.
Okay, Kpaceguy here, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about bi-amping versus bi-wiring and what it is. So a lot of people don't know the differences or don't know that they exist at all. And speakers are able to be bi-amped and bi-wired, and amplifiers are able to do the same thing. So I want to talk about what bi-wiring is and what bi-amping is, and then I'll talk about how to set those up. But not every speaker is able to be bi-amped or bi-wired, so let's figure that out and talk about it together. Alright, so let's talk about bi-wiring first. So what is bi-wiring? What does it do? So first and foremost, the reason why one would bi-wire a speaker is it's supposed to give you a better sound quality. So some speakers have 5-way binding posts, meaning you have 2 pairs of red, 2 pair of black, 2 positive, 2 negatives. So what you can do is give each an individual speaker, your mids and your highs, its own power, and it's supposed to give you a better overall sound. Now, some people think that's a myth. Some people can't really hear an audible difference, but I personally bi-wire all of my speakers if applicable. So bi-wiring is the ability to take highs and mids and give them their own separate power instead of bridging them together, so that they get their own power, they get their own juice, and it's supposed to give you a better sound quality, maybe a richer bass or maybe a higher sounding tweeter, whatever the case is, whatever you believe. So I bi-wire all my speakers because why not? If you have the ability to do so, then you should just do it. It can't hurt anything. So even if it's a myth, even if you really can't hear the difference, I do it anyway. I just feed my speakers their own individual power instead of bridging the two and they're sharing one amplifier, if that makes any sense. So that's what bi-wiring is. So how do you set bi-wiring up? Well, there's 2 ways. One main way, but there's a way that I like to do it. So this is really used for those who use banana plugs. It's easier to do it with banana plugs. So instead of taking a black and a white, or excuse me, a black and a red, positive and negative, to your speakers, you'll take 2 pairs of each, and then you will plug them into your speaker. So if your speakers have 5-way binding posts, meaning again 2 positives and 2 negatives, then you can bi-wire. You'll take 2 sets of wires instead of 1 wire from your amplifier to your speaker, and then you give each mid-range and tweeter their own power. And that's supposed to give you a better sound. So it's really easy and simple to set up. You just take banana plugs and plug them in together, and now you have 2 leads of positive and negative to your speaker, and now you have bi-wired your speakers. Should give you a better sound. So what is bi-amping? What does it do? So bi-amping allows you to send more power from your AV receiver to your speakers, say the front left and front right speaker. It's going to give you a more powerful sound. Maybe your speakers are power hungry, or maybe you have extra channels in your receiver that you're not using. You can take that power and send it to a certain speaker, and it should give you better performance, better volume handling, better bass, better upper mid-range, something like that. So how do you set up bi-amping? And it's kind of similar to bi-wiring. You're going to use 2 wires again, but you're going to use 2 amps, bi meaning 2. So on the back of your receiver, let's say you have a front left speaker, correct? And you have your normal outputs, your red and your black, the positive and the negative. So you're going to take a positive and negative from a different channel too. So let's say the surround back. You're going to have to sacrifice another channel to be able to bi-amp. So let's say you have a 7-channel receiver, but you're only using 5 channels. You can take those other 2 channels to bi-amp one of your speakers, say the front left and front right. So you'll take the positive from your front left speaker and a negative from, say, the surround back. And then you'll do the same thing again to send that information to your speaker. I'll put a diagram above so you guys can see it. So what this allows you to do is send more power to get more performance out of that speaker and out of that receiver that you may or may not need. So it's going to give you a better sound quality overall. Again, you may not hear the difference, but your speakers will perform more efficiently with those speakers or with the power, especially if those speakers are power hungry. So again, bi-amping allows you to send more power to your speaker using 2 amps instead of 1. Now, multiple receivers have this ability. If it's a 7-channel, 9-channel, 11-channel, you need a lot of channels so that you have extra amperage. A lot of receivers do this differently. You're going to have to sacrifice one of the other channels you're not using. Most people sacrifice maybe a Dolby Atmos channel if you're not using Dolby Atmos, or a surround back channel if you don't want to run all 7 speakers. You can use it that way. But again, it gives you much more power to your speakers than you would just running it on 1 amp. So just plug 1 positive from 1 amp and 1 positive from another amp, and then 1 negative from 1 amp and 1 negative for the other amp, and you can power it straight to your speakers and get them, I guess, double the power than you would if you were just running it on 1 amp. So it's a very efficient way to get more power without having to get extra amplification. So maybe look into it. Alright, so guys, now you know that there is a thing called by wiring and by amping, and if you didn't know what they do, and now you have an idea. So for me, I don't buy amp any of my speakers because I have extra amplification, and so I don't need or have the ability to buy amp, but I can buy wire. And again, it's a myth to some people that buy wiring doesn't do anything. For me, I can kind of A/B switch and not really tell a difference, but maybe internally within the speaker there's a performance boost, or maybe it runs more efficiently, or maybe it runs easier at higher volumes, whatever the case is. So I always buy wire all of my speakers just because I can, not because I know that it does anything, but if it does, I want to do that. So I always buy wire. I don't buy amp because I have a Monolith 7 that gives me 200 watts at 8 ohms to my speakers. My speakers are very powerful, they're very power hungry, and they have a low impedance. So I'm actually pulling more than 200 watts to my speakers right now, maybe 300, 400 watts to my speakers right now with my Monolith amp. So I don't need to buy wire or buy amp, sorry. So guys, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you guys buy wire or buy amp, and why did you choose to do one or the other. Let me know that in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and we will see you in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.